welcome to the first edition of BiteWize post-COVID. I'm here with Craig Underwood from Assetwize and Paul Smith from VOS. Let's talk, gentlemen. Last time you were both together talking, you were talking about higher office densities. That's obviously changed. It seems like it was indeed the last decade we were talking about this, but seems a lot longer ago now. So what are you hearing on the ground? Paul, if I can ask you, what are you hearing on the ground?
Well, look, I think probably first-hand experience is probably the best reference in actual fact. I mean, obviously, it will depend on the type of business that you have. But for an office, predominantly office-based business like consultancy, is probably a perfect area to focus on. So what we've personally found, and I suspect that this will be abundantly clear to everybody in the outside world, is that we don't need anywhere near the amount of office space that we did prior to COVID-19. But that's come about because we've all been forced into a scenario where most of our employees are working from home. It's working surprisingly fluidly. If anything, I think our productivity is probably increased, and I think that there's a number of different reasons for that. But ergo, I think what we're finding now is that we probably don't need half the office space that we did before 8 weeks ago, and that everybody, including people who are literally desktop orientated, like drafts people, and can all work from home, work through the internet, and get the same result, if not a slightly better product actually. And these platforms, these meeting platforms, have been a real driver for that. They've been in place for a long, long time, but somehow you just needed to have the experience to make it abundantly clear that, there's no reason to have an office full of people. If everybody's prepared to work flexibly and work away from an office environment, then you can achieve a better outcome, and therefore have less office space. Your overheads are going to drop.
Yeah, I've heard the same from a number of other clients that have said the same thing. They've law firms and others have said, "Yep, why do we need the space?" So it's interesting. What's your view, Craig?
I look much the same. I think the thing that I guess we're going in and out a little bit, if that makes sense. And some of the team are in the office. They want to be in the office, but it's interesting how I suppose it's playing out a little bit in the fact that it used to be the employer who said, we want you in the office. But with everything that's going on at the minute, it's the employee who's saying, actually, in the current situation, I'm not coming in. And with all the flexibility and everything else that you've mentioned there, Paul, it's a different world coming out at the end of this thing. I mean, rightly, I mean, the thing that I use at the office was the printer, because our printer's rubbish, and we need to maybe think about that. It's being able to have the access to the printer, and also maybe going and having a walk around the city. But the city's still very quiet, it's very, very quiet. And listening to what's going on, everybody's thinking the same thing. Why haven't we done this earlier? Or what's the new norm going to be? Well, it feels like it's going to be such that until there's a vaccine and everybody's comfortable around the virus, until that point, a little bit of the business is going to be driven by the people as well. So it's quite interesting how it's all like panning out, and I think everybody's finding that they don't necessarily need that space. I think the landlords are finding that they've got to try and negotiate position on leases and stuff.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of that going on. I know that for a fact, but our own businesses, the guys are actually free to do and we work fairly mobile anyway, but you need to do what you are comfortable with. So it's quite interesting how it's coming around. But much the same, I think, Julian. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's answered the sort of the density question. I mean, the realities are, I guess, less office space will be required. So, but does that mean the density will change? does it mean there'll be more people coming into this? But does it mean more split tenancy arrangements?
Or does it mean that in actual fact you need the same space, but you've got to set it up differently? I mean, one of the things, this whole situation that we're in at the minute, if you've got an office environment, you're quite noisy. So if there's 10 people in the office talking at the PC, the office layout is that office-based, activity-based working ABW, that'll dissipate, I think. And it might be that you've got more booths where people can actually sit, feel comfortable, talk, soundproof type things, and then meeting rooms, and people come and go as they want. But then, as you say, it's then how do you reassess that space in order so that from our side with the building services bit, will it do it? How do you control it? There's other things coming through now around how do you filter the space, i.e. the air, and make sure there's plenty of air getting in there, and does that transfer through from what you had to what's probably on the bigger corporate businesses maybe, but I think everybody is going to be asking that question. Well, at some point somebody's going to say, how much fresh air am I getting, or outside air am I getting? Prove it. How quick is that air turning around, So
how quick can you get your staff into the office is another question. If you've only got one person in a lift at a time, or two people, if you're on the top floor, you'll be waiting a long time for everyone to turn up.
This is it. And if you're waiting for the ferry, you can get 45 people on it now. It usually takes 400.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's a very different world, I think.
Yes, we live in interesting times, I think. Thank you very much for that, gentlemen.